One who's not usually amongst us, so thank you for being here. I do want to thank our board members for being here, Board President Siatawa and Board Vice President Limentino. Thank you for being here tonight. We do these meetings twice a year, one in the fall and one in the spring. And we wish we had more attendance, but we certainly still will present the information that we have. And again, welcome. I think we have some food refreshments at the end. Looks like we have pizza and sandwiches. And what I would like for our presenters to do, Ms. Aki, you don't need to introduce everyone. They can just come up. You see your place on the agenda, so just come up when it is your time, and that way we can get through things very efficiently. So, Ms. Aki, I will turn it over to you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Spring Federal Programs meeting. I'm going to give a brief overview. Hopefully it's brief. There's a lot of things happening in federal programs. I'm just going to go over the activities that are related to the programs. We've been participating in weekly calls for the unified application each Tuesday since January. This is an application that houses all the title programs and special ed funding. So as required for the UA, we've had private school consultations with St. Anthony, Rehoboth Christian School, and Zuni Christian School regarding Title I and Title II services that they receive allocations for. We participated in the monthly Indian Ed call with the Indian Ed New Mexico PED division on a monthly basis. These are informational mostly for LEAs and charters. We also do quarterly check-ins with the same department with our person that's working with us. This one is a means of monitoring budget balances, RFRs, spend downs, etc. From this fund, the greenhouse project has continued with the welding and agriculture students of Twin Buttes and Zuni High School under the supervision of their instructor, Sean Miller, and the greenhouse attendant, Leighton Bawani. They're working right now to get it prepared for the spring, and I know we're going to be getting some visitors from the schools to the greenhouse. We've had a tribal consultation for the unified application on February 19th. Indigenous Day events are March 12th at the middle school, which is tomorrow, April 17th at Shiwitsan Elementary School. I haven't received any update for the two high schools regarding Indigenous Day. The Title VI Indian Ed Formula Grant Part 1 has been submitted. Basically, Part 1 is just a student count of Indian students. Part 2 will open on April 4th. This is going to be a description of services that the students receive from this budget. Part 3 is an annual performance report. Under Johnson O'Malley, the Indian Education Committee has been very active. They are playing a dual role. They're the Indian Education Committee. They're also the family teacher student organization for Shiwitsana. They do represent the district. Our last meeting was held at the middle school, and they hold monthly meetings. They did a February Heart Healthy Month where they gave each student in the district incentives with heart healthy messages, and that was on Tuesday, March 3rd. They have been to training with at the National Johnson O'Malley Conference in November. The future plans for this committee tentatively are school site recognition, teacher appreciation, and end-of-year activities. I think their next meeting is coming up after spring break, actually. It's on as the FTSO. And we are currently recruiting members for this committee from all school sites. We have representation from Shiwitsana, but we need representation from the middle school and the high schools. The bilingual program funding application opened on March 2nd. It's been approved by the It's been approved by the school board and submitted to PED this morning. We're working with the Oshawa College staff and the tribal council on finalizing a guidance document for the 520 licensure process, specifically for initial and renewal requirements. Through a company called Avant, we're in the process of creating Zuni language assessments online. We have worked on pre-populated items and made selections for those items for those that will work for our language and culture. An example is if there was an item that says something like, my favorite superhero is blah, blah, blah. We don't have superheroes per se in our culture, so we throw that out and we move on to a next item and see if it fits into what we're surrounded with, basically. So that's where we are right now. The deadline for the completion of these assessments is the end of the school year, and the plan is to pilot the assessments in the next school year. The school site ambassador programs are going well for Shiwazon Elementary School and the Zuni Middle School and the high school, Zuni High School. There is not an ambassador at Twin Views Cyber Academy. However, the sponsor has reached out to the Zuni High School ambassador, and she's been involved in activities for both schools, representing both schools. School site Zuni language program activities have been geared towards hands-on project-based learning with song and dance. This is still the focus. Book development and student-led activities. Zuni Middle School highlight. The 9th grade teacher had the students create Zuni books, and they visited a 4th grade classroom and shared the books with them. I thought this was awesome. During the cultural events in the community, students in some classes have participated in cooking activities, corn grinding, and learning the prayer for offerings, just to mention a few highlights of instruction. All Zuni language and instructors have gone through most of the Canvas evaluation system. And so that will complete the cycle, like I think next week, 2 weeks from now. So as a variety of reports are due at various times of the fiscal year, I'd like to thank those who have assisted me with information that I'm not directly involved with, such as student progress, data, and programs that are in place at the school sites. It's good to know what's happening at the school sites from the various fundings that we apply for, and that good things are happening. Halakwa. Any questions? I might have missed something, but that's a lot.
Good evening. I will begin my budget presentation by saying that we have not received award amounts for any fund for next year, so I will not be able to give you any amounts that we will be receiving. I will be able to talk about some of the legislation that the governor signed today that will affect budgets next year, and I will touch briefly on construction. The governor today signed Senate Bill 151 and did leave intact the 1% increase for salaries for next year. She also signed House Bill 2, which included the funding for funding the school district paying for 80% of all employees' health insurances. How I will say that she signed that bill, there's funding in the bill for that, but by my calculations, the funding will not be enough to cover the increases. Insurance premiums for health will increase by 9.95% next year. Dental will increase by 4%. You add those increases plus the 80-20 split, and the district will probably still show a $60,000 to $80,000 shortfall in being able to cover both of those. However, for the employees who purchase insurance through the district, you will see healthy increases in your net pay. Representative Martha Garcia met with the superintendent and I back in December, and we talked about funding for Native American language and culture teachers, of which as of today there is none in the state equalization guarantee. Included in House Bill 2 is full funding for our Native American language and culture teachers. In addition, Representative Garcia has some discretionary funds that she was able to use, and she has given them to Zuni Public School District the amount of $180,000 to be used over the next 2 years to pay for Zuni language and culture teachers. So we did come out with some good money. Hopefully it will be enough to take care of our budget for next year, with the understanding that although we are receiving additional funding, we have had decreases in enrollment. Those decreases in enrollment do significantly impact the amount of money we get from the state. Superintendent Stickney, Mr. Lewis, and I did meet with the Tribal Council last week to discuss next year's budget, to give them our projections of what we are going to be spending money on, and to solicit their input. As of today, they haven't given me any additional input, but they do know what our priorities are. Are there any questions about budgets for next year? If not, I'll move on to construction. Any of you that have driven down 301 North have seen a huge building going up. All of the steel has been set. They placed their final piece of steel 2 weeks ago for the academic building. They are putting up interior walls. They're putting up exterior walls and exterior coverings on the academic building. The anticipated completion date of that building is June 6th, 2027, so it should be ready for occupancy for the 2027-28 school year. The athletic complex, the state-funded portion of the athletic complex has been completed. The portion that is not state-funded, that is under construction still at this time, is the field house and the home side bleachers. All of the dirt work for the bleachers has been completed, but they are holding off in pouring the pad because they're working on the field house. All of the grade beams, all the underground supports have been completed. They are doing the underground electrical and plumbing utilities. They hope to be able to pour the pad for that building week after next. Steel for that building is supposed to arrive the first week of April, and you'll soon be able to see that building going up. The construction of the 18 new units in the teacherage are almost complete. Right now, they're just doing punch list items. The only thing that has prevented us from opening those teacherages is that we have not received the transformer and sectionalizing cabinets that are required to provide power for those teacherages. Hopefully those will arrive by mid to late May. They should be ready for occupancy next school year. The one building that was not in the original plans for that project is an auto shop building. It is slated to be approximately a 2,500 square foot building. There will be 3 bays, 2 bays where employees can learn to work on automobiles, and then one we call it a clean room, that will be separated, that they will be able to actually disassemble and reassemble engines. We are looking forward to that. It will be a new program in our school district, or perhaps I should say a resurrection of an old program. Any of those of you from Raymond know Mr. Rankin Lewis back in the 70s and maybe even 80s. He was the one that ran that program. So we think it will be a welcome addition to our CTE program. And all buildings, this academic building, the auto shop, and the field house and bleachers should all be finished and ready to occupy at the same time. Once the buildings are all done and we're moved over into the new academic building, the current Zuni High School will be demolished and remains will be taken away. Are there any questions about the construction projects that are going on? All construction projects that are not funded fully by the state are paid for out of impact aid funding. We have devoted 100% of our impact aid funding this year, 75% of it for the last 2 years, and 100% next year to those projects. The cost of the athletic complex was approximately $13 million, and it was split almost 50-50 between the state and the district. The state pays for everything from the outside of the track in. The district has to pay for everything outside the track, which includes your field events, your lighting, your parking lots, your grandstands, and everything else. For the teacherage, there was also approximately a 50-50 split. The state paid $550,000 per unit, and so their cost was $990,000. The total cost of that project will be around $18 million, so the rest is on the district. The actual school building itself, the cost is $116 million. The district will only have to come up with $6.5 million on that part of the project. But with impact aid, we have substantial funding, and we'll be able to pay for our portion. Are there any questions about construction funding? If not, thank you for your attention. And I will turn the time over to, looks like Ms. Bawakati. Not Ms. Bawakati.
I'm Ms. Satakai. I am the Dean of Students representing our school today. I am providing you updates with our demographics first. Our current enrollment is at 511 students. We have been the district attendance winners for January, and I believe the entire school year so far. So it's a good job to STES. Our current events that we are having right now is we have after-school tutoring grades, kindergarten through 5th grade. We have a 5th grade math boot camp going on, and we also have 5th grade writing club who do our monthly newsletters written by the students. We do want to do some acknowledgments for the 120th day. Our bus rider iPad winners were Jaden Sanchez and Jay Spoon. We also received news last week that 4th grade had won the state prodigy champions in math, so they excelled #1 overall in the state. We are extremely proud that we do have our STES Equity Council making a very good impact. They did a Need a Jacket program recently, so they're very active currently. Our upcoming events, next week, of course, is spring break from the 16th to the 20th. We have our state testing coming up, our New Mexico Mesa, on April 6th through the 9th. Following that, we have our student-led conferences. Just wanted to let you guys know that on April 1st, we are going to be having a pep rally as well for our students. So if you guys want to come by and give some encouraging words, we welcome all of you to do so. On March 13th through the 16th, we have our ASR testing, the science for 5th grade. On April 17th, we have our Indigenous Day at Zuni High School. And then May 4th through the 8th, we have Teacher Appreciation Week. For upcoming summer programs, we have the STES Summer School scheduled to begin on June 8th and end on July 9th. And we will also have ZYEP camp going on from June 11th to July 17th. Okay, any questions? Okay, alaka. Tayadan ko ksusunna kanafta.
Good evening. So today I will be doing 2 different reports. The first one is for Zuni Middle School, and the second one will be for the District Equity Council. So for Zuni Middle School, currently we're focusing on our instructional priorities, really looking at our student needs as well as our staff and instructional needs and trying to meet those. A lot of what we've been trying to focus on is not only engaging activities, but also giving some independent time for productive struggle. Currently what we're working on is we're going to have a college and career fair for the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders in May, as well as a science fair. We're also planning a spring art show. Some of the student activities currently, we still have Save the Promise during both lunches every Wednesday, National Junior Honor Society, Student Council, and the Yearbook Club. Our Student Equity Council is currently preparing to plan and implement the ZMS Ambassador Program, which will be a branch off from the Zuni High School and Twin Buttes Ambassador programs. We currently have tutoring on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for an hour, focusing a lot on math. We have spring sports right now. We have we have softball, baseball, and track currently, as well as esports. ZYP will be providing after-school activities in April for 7th and 8th graders, as well as 9th graders, focusing a lot on college and career readiness. Family engagement, we do have our Indigenous Day tomorrow, as well as student-led conferences on the 9th and 10th of April, and then our academic parent-teacher team meeting on April the 13th. Like other schools, we are getting ready for state assessments. Right after spring break, our students do give tips for assessments, as well as putting up posters and building each other's confidence, pepping each other up for our testing, which will be April 6th through the 9th. Summer school this year, we're going to be focusing on 7th and 8th graders, continuing to build the skills, as well as freshman credit recovery. This will be June 1st through the 25th. We're only going Monday through Thursdays in the mornings. Breakfast and lunch will be served. Moving on to the ZPSD Equity Council. Currently, we do have a Student Equity Council at every single school in the district. The students actually had gone and presented to the state back in February. Every time we have an Equity Council meeting through the state, that's one thing that I always bring up is what Zuni is doing, because this is the first time that they're seeing an Equity Council from the elementary all the way through the high school. Like Miss Sethakai said at Shiwitsana, the kids are really rocking and rolling. They had a Monday pizza, and then they changed it to Friday pizza, really trying to motivate the kids to get to school. They're doing a jacket program, so they have all kinds of things going on. At the middle school, like I said, they're going to be doing an ambassador program. One of the things that came up in their surveys was that they wanted mentorship from one another, really focusing on that student leadership and helping one another. Twin Buttes, as well as Zuni High School, have their equity councils, focusing a lot on mental health, making sure that they keep the school spirit alive, and finding various activities for their students. As far as for the Adult Equity Council, we are currently working on the advisement package for Ms. Stickney. We have gone and looked at the needs assessment, as well as the CLR that our leaders had taken the surveys for. A couple of things that the Equity Council has already talked about is how can we get our families more engaged from the secondary level. In the elementary, we see a lot of family engagement, but not so much moving on to middle school and high school. So we talked about that, as well as how can we educate not only our families, but the community about the school system and all the good things that our district is doing. Thank you very much.
So I'm Ray Hartwig, representing Twin Buttes Cyber Academy. We do have a newsletter over by the sign-in table. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, I invite you to pick one of those up. I'm going to hit on a couple of the high points that have happened subsequently to our publishing that newsletter, and we'll start off with the Herd Student Art Museum trip, which was last weekend. We had one student, Merlina Natawa, who won first place in natural clay and also the division winner in natural clay. This was worth about $175. This was worth about $650. This is her pot. It was quite a large pot, about this big, and apparently there were so many people who wanted to buy that pot that they had to have a drawing. And apparently there were, it was pretty tense because it was highly sought after. So So she sold that pot too and wound up with about a total of about $1,500. So in addition, we entered 16 entries, only 4 of which came home. So all of the other pieces were sold, and that program is taught by Ms. Noreen Simplicio. Touching on some of the other events that happened, also the art, the native clay, the natural clay class will be doing an art show at the Gallup Cultural Center in mid-April. Mr. Basa's science program sent 23 biomed and future health career club members to the Native American Career Expo. It was by far the largest group that was there, held at the Bonifacio Center last month. He was also selected as one of 12 of 150 educators across the country to help Stanford University design new K through 12 curricula for the United States. Our welding program, and I'm probably bleeding over into our CTE sharing here. Our welding program will be sending students to the Tulsa Welding School competition for scholarships next month. Construction has issued over 30 OSHA 10 certificates this school year, about 15 in the first semester and the like number in the second semester. Our history department is sending one of our students to the Continental Youth Congress. 1 out of 37 students picked from the country to attend that in July, celebrating the 250th celebration of the Declaration of Independence. In all of our classes, we are in the middle of a 9-day PBL service learning training and PD, and our English department has already designed a number of projects to go along with that. The 10th grade is doing a project, a community-based project called Voices Not Erased, Language, Identity, and the Power to Redefine the Narrative. Our 11th grade is doing legacy pieces, Voices That Raised Us, involved with Zuni elders. And our 12th grade is doing Ancient Knowledge, Living Science, Understanding Zuni Prophecies Today. Across all of these projects, we are developing research, interviewing, collaboration, and presenting skills connected to their learning community, knowledge, and partnerships. To pick up what's left of the CTE presentation, this year we did drop our program in nursery and plant science in favor of what was requested by our Zuni tribal partners, forestry and wildlife management. And also, I would like to say in late April, we are having our second yearly advisory committee meeting. It will be informing our 26-27 school year budget cycle. We will be entertaining community participation in skilled trades and agriculture, health career opportunities, and STEM, clean energy, and natural resources. Are there any questions? Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
What are you doing in the heavy construction simulation?
Currently, heavy construction is not, it's part of the transportation career cluster as it's defined by the CCRB, and technically, that is not part of our CTE-funded project. That is supported by district funds, primarily with the assistance of Mr. Martin Romine, and in the future, we may get an opportunity to weave that into part of the CTE program, but at this point, it's in place, and it serves and hopefully will serve in the future tribal needs for heavy equipment operators. And that's our main thrust. But technically, it is not part of the CTE program as defined by the CCRB.
Good evening. I'm Chris Carroll. This is Lance Blair with the principals of Zuni High School. Zuni High School has a total enrollment right now of 209 students. We have 74 10th graders, 70 11th graders, and 65 seniors. As Mr. Hartwig mentioned, we sent students down to the Heard Museum this last weekend. Zuni High School sent 16 students down. We won in the pottery division. We won the Judge's Choice Award, 1 blue ribbon, 2 red ribbons, and 2 white ribbons. So we also have the Chair's Choice Award in painting, and we have a 3rd place in textiles weaving. 2 of our pieces, one of our girls sold her pottery for $850, and the young lady that won the Chair's Choice Award sold her painting for $500. So, and we brought back about half of our total of 96 pieces. Half of them sold, half of them came back. So the students did very well down there. We also got the Teacher Recognition Award. It's given to 1 teacher for the entire program. So Jacob Fry was selected this year as the Teacher Recognition Award. Today, the JAG class took to the state competition. 1 student qualified to nationals. To go to nationals, you have to be the overall champion of that category. Eli Chavez won the category Prepared Speaking. He'll be competing in Salt Lake City in May. We had 11 students finish 2nd. I won't talk about that. SAT state testing for juniors is going to be on March 31st, and our ASR science exam will be on April 6th. Last week, students from Twin Buttes Academy and Zuni High School presented at the Ed Uprising Conference. 1 group from Zuni High School presented on capstone, and the group from Twin Buttes, along with Zuni High School, did a presentation on an indigenous approach to SEL. After spring break, we'll have our Math Mania Week. I did a handout on that. We're doing activities during T-Bird time, door decorating, and even dressing up each day, but it's got to be math related. So our math department's really outgoing and coming up with really good ideas on how to really keep that math high in our focus. We offer after-school tutoring on Monday through Thursday. That's available to all students. On April 2nd will be our college and career fair. We have NHS induction ceremony on April 15th, and our summer school will take place this year from June 3rd through June 25th. Like Dr. Dosido said, this will be Monday through Thursdays. And Mr. Blade, do you have anything to add? Or?
You want me to talk about attendance?
Sure.
All right, so we have several attendance incentives that we give out each month, and I like that the community gets involved with it. We have Choo Choo's that has given us certificates, Halona Plaza, and then also Express. So each month, a student, all the ones that had perfect attendance for that month get put into a drawing, and we give out 5 of those certificates each month. And then we have the awards ceremonies twice a year that we give the best attendance overall, several of those things. Next year, we're looking to get some more community input on incentives for our attendance. We had been in the 90% range. This month, there has been a lot of illness. We dropped to 89%, which was still close to the 90%, but our goal is to get to the 94 and beat Shibisana.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Austin Clausen, Director of Special Education and Health Services for Zuni Public Schools. Right now, for the Special Education Department, we are serving 164 students with special needs. That is an increase from last year's 151. We have evaluations happening regularly with our diagnosticians that we have here in the district, and Child Find is pretty active at the Head Start. Those services are obviously at all school sites, including the Head Start, the Tribal Head Start over on the south side. We cover those needs at that facility with the MOU that we have with the tribe. In those services, we have all the related services as far as physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and language. We have a couple that are visually impaired, and I think that's all the therapies that we offer. We have most of those staff housed or employed by the district, minus a couple that we are consistently working towards. We have our occupational therapy assistant right now is working towards his occupational therapy degree, and he will be our occupational therapy for the district. We have a counselor right now that's working and has been accepted to a program for social work, and when he has concluded that program, he'll be our social worker for the district. So we have people that are continuing ed and making things better. We have a speech language assistant that's working on a speech language degree, and she will hopefully be a speech language pathologist within a year and a half, so that we'll have her join the program as well. Everything's going well. We got a letter last week from the state saying that we met our maintenance of effort, and what that means is that we are continuing to use the same amount of funds that we've used. We haven't reduced the amount of funds that we use for our special education students, and that just shows that we have equity across the board for them. We are eligible for $2.5 million for the 26-27 school year for our special education students. Doesn't mean we're going to get it all, just we're eligible for it, and hopefully they'll be generous and give us more. This year was a little tight. We've had to cut back on some trips that individuals have wanted to go on for professional development, but that's what it is. We also, since we are in Region 1 let us know that they have some funds for additional professional development for special education. So we went ahead and applied for a couple of different trainings, one to cover CPI, which is, we use that for our when we have situations where there needs to be holds put on students or de-escalation tactics. We ask them to reimburse us for that training, which we have currently 70-ish employees that are trained in that. We also ask them to approve funding for a professional development that we'll have at the beginning of June that will have a deep dive on IEP writing, behavioral goals, and manifest of disabilities. Hopefully that will happen. I haven't heard back if it's totally locked in or not, but we made the request. Extended school year services will be offered June 1st through June 25th for any students that qualify, and the way that they qualify for extended school year services is if they show that they have regression over the summer break or long breaks period. We offer services to shorten that break so that they don't regress with the progress that they've made. As far as the health services go for the district, currently we're fully staffed in that area. We have our nurse and our nursing assistants, and they do what they can to help with whatever needs they have in the schools at the time, and everything's going well in those areas. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Boyd Lewis. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction. I'm also the District Test Coordinator. I'm going to touch on 5 areas. The first area is district priorities, and then commitment to academic excellence, key instructional practices, focus on attendance, and lastly, I'll touch on the Zuni Public School District Advisory Committee that I chair. We utilize a curriculum that is Common Core state standards driven. Our teachers K through 12 use pacing guides that are aligned to those standards each year, and we'll be doing it again this year. Towards the end of the school year, the teachers get a chance to revisit those pacing guides and make adjustments or suggestions to revise them. So that'll be happening here at the end of the school year. We're focused on data-driven instruction. We give 3-week CBMs to our students, quarterly interims, and at Shiwitsana, our students in grades K through 5 take an AMIRA assessment in both reading and math each month. We use the gradual release of responsibility as our instructional model. This is really guiding our students towards independence of learning. And we are continuing our efforts with observation and feedback coaching cycles. The priority with this is that we are growing our teachers and helping them to improve as instructors. With academic excellence, we are always focused on making sure that the delivery of instruction is on grade level or higher. We don't want to remediate. We don't want to continue to compound the problem with students being behind. We want to make sure that we're challenging our students and delivering on grade level instruction. We have high expectations for all students. We have embedded SEL components throughout the day, also in our standalone Panther and T-Bird and crew periods. We continue to celebrate academic achievements with our Board Scholar Awards, and we continue to recognize attendance monthly. We have we're fostering strong family partnerships with our APTT programs at both Shiwitsana and at the middle school. And we also have our second Family Champions Night coming up on April 14th. This will be an opportunity for parents to come in and get training from one of the resources we bring in. We continue to offer our staff ELL strategies or training in ELL strategies through our Elevations platform and through the WIDA workshop platform. And then we continue to focus on using high-quality instructional materials in our instructional delivery of math and ELA throughout the day. This year is a math adoption year. That process is just wrapping up now. Hopefully within the next few days we'll have all the teachers' input forms back and the rubrics that they use to kind of grade each publisher that we brought in, and then we'll be making a choice on which publisher we're going to go for with the adoption. Teachers are required to turn in learning outlines weekly. We've really tried to streamline this process over the last few years. We don't want to make it a cumbersome assignment for our teachers to where it takes a lot of their time on the weekends or in the evenings. So we've found ways to make that a little bit easier for our teachers, but still get what we're looking for out of it, the standards that they'll be teaching, the resources that they'll be using, and the learning outcomes from the weekly assignments. Our teachers participate in PLCs at each school site, and the goal is that 100% of these teachers are participating in these PLCs, whether it's reviewing data from assessments or reviewing instructional practices, but we're always reflecting on what we're doing and trying to improve on what we're doing for our students. And then All school sites have to complete a 90-day dash plan twice a year. They have a fall 90-day dash plan and a spring 90-day dash plan. So they submit these to PED, and then they do 30-day check-ins throughout each quarter, throughout each semester. There are currently, give or take, 1 or 2 students, because we have students that drop and students that enroll quite frequently. Roughly 1,020 students district-wide. We continue to focus on the Missing School Equals Missing Out attendance campaign. We still use the EDIA AI app to message our parents when students are absent, and parents are messaging us back with it. The cool thing about this app is it actually has a map of the village that shows us where maybe there's some hot pockets with attendance issues, and it gives us an opportunity to look at that and see if maybe it's bus routes that need to be adjusted or different things like that. Maybe it's where we need to send our homeschool liaisons out and see what's going on, but it's a nice little feature to that. And then we continue to have monthly contests for attendance. I think, was it Mr. Carroll talking about beating Shiwatsana, or Mr. Valea? Yes, Shiwatsana tends to win those competitions. But all schools have shown great improvement over the last couple years with their attendance, and so that's good to see. But we give away iPads, we've given away AirPods. It was mentioned that we did the 120th day bus riding incentive this year. We gave out 4 iPads district-wide to students, and that's just in an effort to get students to ride the bus that should be riding the bus. And then finally, the advisory committee. This committee consists of myself, board secretary, our board vice president, Lemontino, Ms. AQ is on the committee, and then 2 tribal council members, Councilman Wimaitiwa and Councilwoman Ms. Chavez. We meet monthly. We've had 7 meetings so far. A lot of our efforts have focused on how the tribal council can support the school district's efforts with improving attendance. Both tribal council members have recorded, and there are messages that have aired on Keshi radio station. I don't know if any of you have heard them, but hopefully they're going out and making a difference. Along with that, they have also donated $2,400 that we will use to buy gift cards from Halona Market that we will be doing drawings for each month, and all schools will have the opportunity to win these. The real focus of this committee is just to show that we have a strong partnership with the tribal council, and that we're invested in what we're trying to do with our students here in Zuni Public School District. And so I'm appreciative of that partnership and the work that this committee is doing. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tucker Simons. I'm the HR director. Currently, throughout the school district, we have 257 employees. That does not include our casual workforce. Our casual workforce is our sub-teachers, our sub-custodians, our sub-cooks, and our temporary workers. As of today, we plan on having 5 to 7 people retire, and we will have a retirement banquet on May 6th at 5 o'clock in this building. Mr. Hartwig, I haven't told you that yet, but that's usually where we have it. We have 3 to 5 teachers that will be leaving us just because of visa issues. A lot of them, they have a home rule of 2 years, so they have to return home and serve their countries for 2 years before they can come back. We will have an employee appreciation banquet on May 1st, where that's where we give out the pins, 5-year pins for staff who've been here 5 years. We've got people that are going to hit the 40-year mark this year. Seems like we do that quite often. We get people that hit those marks. We've had a fun year. this year, and we in the HR office, we are already planning for the next year, and we will be doing some recruiting. We're not going to go as far as we normally do. We're going to keep our recruiting to New Mexico and northern Arizona. We do a recruiting fair over there, and so we'll keep our recruiting closer this year. One of the things that I've said before, and I will say again, I always like to end with this. I sit in about 98% of all interviews for people who come here and want to be hired here. And the first question is, why do you want to come here and be a part of Zuni Public Schools? And the overwhelming response is, we have heard that you support your staff. We have heard that you support your teachers and that you provide professional development with them. You have people that mentor them, and then we really want to be a part of a school district that supports their staff. And so kudos to our administrators who make that happen, our instructional coaches who make that happen. It's a really good thing to hear, that you're in a place where people are supported. Last thing is, we really want to thank Chris Licensi back there. He always comes and makes sure that these microphones are set up and the people in the community can watch this event. Also, we would like to thank Rhonda for taking care of their refreshments. At this time, we would like to invite you all to have a few refreshments, and thank you for coming this evening. Meeting adjourned.